Alright, I am going to go over numbers 13 and 15 out of 11.4. They are matrix multiplication problems. So we'll start with 13. I'm also going to do a video for, I think, number 27, which is another multiplication one, a little bit different from what you've done in class and stuff like that in terms of dimensions. We'll start with number 13. Okay, so I wrote it out for us there. We are finding A times C with the two matrices over on the right. So I write A out, I write C out. Remember, I've got a top. It's hard for me to write on here right now, but I've got a top 0, 0, 3, -5, and then a left column for the next one. So that gives me a top left entry. Then I've got top by right, so that same 0, 3, -5 times the right, 1, 2, 3. That's going to give me my next one. And then I'm going to have a bottom left. I'm going to give myself a little more space. A bottom left and a bottom right. Hopefully you understand how I got that. We talked about that quite a bit in class. So you should be okay with that. Alright, so I'm going to start by doing a circle here. Top by left, and it goes in the top left. So I get 0 times 4. Remember, I plus on the inside, I add on the inside. So I got 0 times 4, which is 0, plus, alright, 3 times 6, 18, and then -5 times -2, which is a positive 10. Now I'll do top by right. So I go top by right. That gives me 0 times 1, which is a 0. Then 6, that's 3 times 2. -5 times 3 is -15. Now I'm going to do the bottom left and then the bottom right. So I'll go to a new color, orange, everyone's favorite. Bottom by left, so I go 1 times 4, which is 4, 2 times 6, which is 12, and I'm adding on the inside. Then 6 times -2, is that right? 2 times 6 and 6 times -2, so I get a -12. So now it's going to be easy to work with. And then the bottom by right, may as well continue on with the colors. Let's see, how about yellow? So I'm going to go bottom by right. So I get 1 times 1, which is 1, plus 2 times 2, which is plus 4, and then 6 times 3, plus 18. Go back to red. So now I just need to kind of add everything up in there, and that's going to give me my answer. So 18 and 10 is 28. 6 minus 15 is -9, I think. Right? Yeah. 4, bottom left. And then I got 19 plus 4, so that's 23. So that's what you should get. And I'll go on to number 15. Before I erase this, just notice that it's really not that hard. You just need to line up rows and columns, rows and columns, rows and columns. Figure out the size, and then go through and add, or multiply and then add. So on to 15. So number 15 was to multiply C by A instead of A by C. We talked about in class how when I multiply matrices, it's not necessarily the same when I switch the order. It's actually usually not the same. First thing I need to do is find out the dimensions. So I'm gonna try to do it with the pen here. So I got 4, 1. That's the top. Let's let's go color code here. So I'm going to have, let's see, purple. This, so I'm going to do 4, 1 by the left. That's going to give me a top left. Then I'm going to do 4, 1 by the middle in green, right? So I'm going to do 4, 1 times the 3, 2. That's going to give me a top middle. And then lastly, for that row, I'm going to do 4, 1 by the right, pink. So I'm going to do 4, 1 times negative 5, 6. And that's going to give me the right. Similarly, I'll do the same thing with the 6, 2. So I'll multiply 6, 2 by the purple, then the green, then the pink. I'll multiply, and that'll be the middle. So I'll have middle left, middle right, or sorry, middle middle, middle left, middle middle, and middle right. And the same thing for the bottom. So I'm just going to draw out my little spots. So I'm giving myself enough room here. So you should see how I get a 3 by 3 out of this. Alright, now, color, we'll stick with red. So I do 4, 1 times, actually I'm going to do blue. So I do 4, 1 times this. That gives me 4 times 0 plus 1 times 1, which is just, alright, 0 plus 1. Then I do 4 times 3, so this is the blue row times the green column. 4 times 3, which is 12, and then 1 times 2, so plus 2. So that's going to give me a 14. Here, let's go through and so I get 1, then I get 14. Then I get 4 times negative 5, which is negative 20, and then plus 1 times 6, which is a positive 6. So that's a negative 14. Now I do this row times the 3 columns. So 6, 2 times this guy again, 0, 1. That gives me 6 times 0, which is 0. 2 times 1, which is 2. Now I do the 6, 2 times this row. 6 times 3, 18. Plus 2 times 2, 4. Now the 6, 2 by this row. 6 times 5, negative 30. And then 2 times 6, so plus 12. Let me go fill those in. So I get on the right side for my final answer, I get a 2. 18 and 4 add to 22. And then negative 30 and 12 gives me negative 18. Alright. Now I'm going to look at this row right here, the negative 2, 3, and I'm going to multiply it by each of the columns. So I get negative 2 times 0, once again 0, then plus 3. Then I get negative 2 times 3, which is a negative 6, right? And then plus 6, so that's going to come out to be 0. Then, so that was it times this row. Now I'm going to do the negative 2, 3 by this. Negative 2 times negative 5 gives me a 10. And then 3 times 6 plus 18. So my row becomes 3, 0, then 28. But don't stop yet. I want to point something out here. If we look, we talked about something like this in class, I think in all of my classes. This right here, this 0, 1. What I want you to think about is, what did that do? What did the 0, 1 do in the matrix operations here? If you look, that was the column that gave me all of these guys. So the 0 got rid of the 4, the 6, and the negative 2. That's what all these were, because it was multiplied by 0. And it left me with the 1, 2, 3, which showed up here in my answer. So notice that 0, 1, what it is, it's kind of like a set of instructions to just copy that 1, 2, 3, which is kind of cool. That's all. One more video if you need help with number 27.